Raise your fists together. I am somebody. I may be poor, but I am somebody.
Red and yellow, brown, black, and white. We're all precious in God's sight. Everybody is somebody. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop bullying. Save the children.
Hold your head high. Stick your chest out. You can make it. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonia Whitaker, National Education Policy Director for Push for Excellence. And on behalf of the Rainbow Push Coalition, we'd like to thank you for joining us for our Saturday morning forum. Allow us to pause for just a moment and thank Word Network for bringing you to us and us to you. And yet we acknowledge that many of you are watching us right now on Facebook Live. If you're doing so, we want you to like our page. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube Live, we want you to subscribe to our page so that you can gain immediate access to all of the content we make available to you. And speaking of content, we can't do this without you. We need your financial support, and we've made it really easy for you to give. In fact, you can pick up your cell phone right now and hold it to the QR code and give right on the spot. And if you prefer, you can take that same cell phone and simply text the word PUSH to 41444. Text PUSH to 41444. And the last option, for those of you that prefer, you can simply go to our website at rainbowpush.org and click on the donate button. September is a really exciting month for us here at the Rainbow Push Coalition. We have a lot of birthdays this year, so many I'm going to read them right to you. Shelly Davis, Robert Pertillo, Edward Ford, Frank Watkins, Tyler Perry, Dr. Julianne Malvo, Jesse Jackson III, Yusef Jackson, Jacqueline Jackson, and your very own Dr. Sonia Whitaker. My birthday is also in the month of September. And now for our announcements. We are so excited to invite you to help us celebrate the birthday of our founder, Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., and his celebration is going to be held in person on October 14th at Fellowship Baptist Church, located right here in Chicago, Illinois. Also, we're excited to invite you to participate in our virtual Atlanta Peachtree Conference being held on October the 19th through October the 21st. Don't forget to reserve your free spot. All you have to do is go to our website at rainbowpush.org to register. Now, whatever you do today, don't touch that dial. We have a lot more in store for you.
Hey, I'm Reverend James Meeks, pastor of the Salem Baptist Church of Chicago, and I am at Dr. Martin Luther King's workshop. Can I put it another way? The house that God allowed Reverend Jesse Jackson to build. This is such a historic building. There have been so many people who've come across this stage. I can remember Bobby Rush when he was in trouble. He turned himself in at Rainbow Push. I've been here when presidents have been here, first ladies of the United States. This is such an historic place, and I thank God for using Reverend Jesse Jackson to expose all of us to people that we never would have touched, never would have reached. That's our national leader, Reverend Jesse Jackson. And I'm also excited about the fact that finally our leader, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, is taking some much needed time to rest and recuperate. And during that interim, while he's resting and recuperating, Reverend Jackson and our board, we've asked Bishop Tavis Grant to be our acting National Executive Director. Bishop Tavis Grant has had every job that you could have at Push. He started as a volunteer, and we need some of you to become volunteers, but he started as a volunteer. He has worked himself all the way up to this exciting position that God has placed his hands on him, and he's being entrusted to lead our organization while our leader, our founder, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, gets some much needed rest. I pray that you would pray for Reverend Jackson during this period of rest, because you know it is hard to keep Reverend Jackson down. But in that interim, I am introducing to all of you today, and he's no stranger. It's not that you don't know him. You have not known him in this capacity, but I am asking for your support. I'm asking for your continued pushing membership, which I'll come back and talk about later. But without any further ado, our new leader, Bishop Tavis Grant.
Well, Pastor Meeks, I'm so excited for the opportunity and your support. I'm certainly humbled by this moment. You talked about this stage, and wow, radio broadcasts.
Yes.
E. Duke McNeil, Reverend Willie Taplin Barrow, St. Clair Booker. The list goes on and on, from Conrad Worrell to Lou Palmer, Nancy Jefferson, Dorothy Tillman, Harold Washington.
Harold Washington.
And President Barack Obama on this stage and in this room. And it is an arduous, overwhelming call to service. I've been around Reverend Jackson for nearly 4 decades. And, you know, one of the things that he makes very clear, that this job is about service. And I've seen him do it over and over again. He often tells a story about the bee that repopulates the flower. I really feel like I and you and others have served this organization to repopulate the flower. How we marched, you and Bishop Trotter and H. Daniel Wilson, across this city over the years. And so I've been a student of your work and your leadership. And I never aspired to do this as much as to show up and do the work each and every day. And so I've accepted the call to serve Reverend Jackson. He's getting better, and we're getting better, and we're doing life together.
That is fantastic. And Bishop Grant, just the fact that the board of directors, they were able to tap you as an acting executive director, it says that they've seen something in you over the years. You didn't just pop up yesterday. How long have you been with the organization?
I've been with the organization since I was 17 years old. My school, the Resident Orr High School, which is Orr Academy now, was a Push Excel school.
Oh.
And this larger-than-life man took the stage at my school and started saying, I am somebody. And then I came to this auditorium, and hundreds of young people from around the city. It was unheard of, the mixed South and West Side. You had the street organizations that divided us back then.
Yeah.
And we came here to Dr. King's workshop, and he taught us the principles of Push Excel, go to school, stay out of trouble, say down with dope, up with hope. And I aspired to, from 84 to 88, as a part of the Action Jackson and all of that, with Jesse Jr. running that and the various programs and initiatives over the years, from a volunteer to a driver to oh my gosh, to packing trucks, bag carrying, speech writing. I mean, there's so many things you learn from being around, as you know, Reverend Jackson, and this opportunity is the only thing I haven't done, and my commitment is to be as faithful and as effective I have been in other capacities. You
know, when we study the Old Testament, there is always a generation that passes a baton or torch to the next generation. We know we have Abraham, then we have Isaac, then we have Jacob. Down the line we get Solomon, and we get, David, then we get Solomon. And so there's always a passing of the torch. Dr. King was the leader of a movement. And then there was Jesse Jackson, who 50 years, 60 years, I really don't know how his body held up.
Oh my gosh.
During such a long and incredible run of 60 years. But now he's yielding, taking some time to take care of himself, and the torch is continuing to be passed to you. How do you feel about that?
It is a wow moment for me and my family. You know, this summer we were in Selma, and we walked those 40 miles from Selma to Montgomery, and I was able to meet the SCLC director who hired Reverend Jackson.
Wow.
And it was amazing to see them reconnect. And Reverend Jackson said, had it not been for him hiring me, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so I believe function follows form, and faithfulness. God honors faithfulness, and faithfulness honors God. You know, you've taught over the years, if you're faithful over a few things, look at Salem, look at the House of Hope. I really believe those principles are true. And I think when you get to a certain point, you have to keep doing what got you there.
We thank our team so much, John Mitchell, our Chief of Staff, Reverend Jeanette Wilson,
Absolutely.
Over Push Excel, and we have so much more work to do. We have students all across our country that are reading below grade level. We still have instances where our citizens are being shot too quickly by the police, as in the young man in Columbus, Ohio, as in people all over America. We still have issues in Mississippi where it appears as if the infrastructure is not being addressed. We have issues in Kentucky, and so our organization is asked to go all over the world. And you all won't know this because you have not been in trouble yet. But when people get in trouble, the place that they look to, the place that they know they can call is Rainbow Push. Now, you don't get those calls. They don't come to your house, and I understand it. But that's who we are. We accept every call. We take every call. We take on almost every challenge. We really need you. Those of you that God has been good to, those of you that God has blessed, we really need you to join our organization. My God, it would make Bishop Grant, it would make Reverend Jackson get well so much faster if this week at least 1,000 of you would join Rainbow Push. The information is on the screen. It's just $35. You join our organization. We will let you know what we're fighting, what we're working on. We will let you know when we're coming to your area. We'll let you know how you, because I know you don't want to just give. I know you want to tangibly work. We'll let you know how you can help improve reading scores and how you can help us in the fights that we have all around the country. And so we are very excited for the new position that Bishop Grant has been put in. And now I am asking you, he's a young man, I am asking you, please ma'am, please sir, you could just go online right now, fill out the information, and become a part of Rainbow Push. As a matter of fact, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I've never done this before in my life. Everybody who becomes a part, Bishop Grant, of Rainbow Push, I am going to personally reach out to you this week and tell you thank you on behalf of our organization. I will give you a personal, if we have your number, it'll be a personal call from me to say thank you, or a personal call from Bishop Grant, our acting executive director. He will call, one of us will call to tell you thank you for your gift and for joining Rainbow Push. And so Bishop Grant, it's back into your hand to say whatever you want to say to the people across the nation. 1,000 people this week. We're asking you to become a part of our organization, and we're asking you to pray for Reverend Jesse Jackson.
You know, it's so important as we face the headwinds of insurgents and recovering from the pandemic. And you play a significant role. Everything counts starting with you. And as Pastor Meeks has made this appeal, 1,000 of you this week, we need you to become a member or get a membership for someone that's significant to you. You can go to rainbowpush.org and know that we are keeping hope alive.
God bless you.
Hello, I'm Robert Patillo, and I'm the Executive Director of the Rainbow Push Coalition Peachtree Street Project here in Atlanta, Georgia. I would like to invite you to this year's 23rd Annual Creating Opportunity Conference, which will be held October 19th through 21st at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in downtown Atlanta. This year, we will be embracing the change in an unstable global economy. We'll be having sessions on everything from political leadership to elections to a women's roundtable, international discussions on social economic issues that exist around the globe, as well as a birthday gala celebrating the 81st birthday of Reverend Jesse L. Jackson Sr. The gala will be virtual the first 2 days. You'll be able to log in and view the conference from anywhere in the world, and the gala on the 21st will be held in person live at the Hyatt Regency as we celebrate the birthday and legacy of Reverend Jesse L. Jackson. For more information, go to rainbowpush.org or email myself, R. Patillo, at rainbowpush.org, or our program director, Trina Heathington, at theheathington@rainbowpush.org. And as Reverend Jackson would say, make sure that you keep hope alive.
Thank you for joining us on Spotlight in Education. Reverend Jeanette and I are always so excited every week to give you an update on what we would consider to be hot topics in public education. How are you doing today, Reverend Jeanette?
I'm doing wonderful. It's a lot going on.
It is a lot. You know, I think it's probably a good idea to revisit the topic of the national teacher shortage again this week. And this week, if it's okay, we want to take a bit of a different angle with it. We know across our nation, right, there are many school districts that are experiencing national teacher crisis. But the angle that we want to take relevant to this spotlight is exactly what is the national teachers crisis, or shortage rather, and who is impacted the most? I bet you could probably figure out, Reverend Jeanette, who is actually impacted most by the national teacher shortage.
Well, you can figure it out. Where would you want to teach? You want to teach in a school that's highly resourced? You want to teach in a school where the children are highly motivated and where the parents are very supportive? What school district is that? What school system is that? Is it a school system nestled in the inner city where you have a high levels of truancy? Is it a school district where most of the students are on free and reduced lunch, and now with the changes, many students arrive hungry, leave hungry, and some are not going to get the meals that they were getting before because the parents can't qualify under the new guidelines of poverty. I mean, where would you want to be? Would you want to be teaching in a school district or a school where the community is surrounded by violence? Going in and out of the school, children are arriving at school having crossed through lines of violence every single day. And so the question is, if you had an option, where would you teach?
Right. And
I mean,
so
or would you give it up?
Right, and so that's actually what we're finding as we engage with researchers and taking a look and reading through some of the recent articles relevant to this topic. What we're finding is the school districts that are experiencing the shortage are school districts serving Black, brown students, and students experiencing the impact of poverty. In fact, just this morning, right here in the Chicagoland area, on Channel 5, they reported that in the northwest suburbs of Illinois, there's actually a school district, Reverend Jeanette, that only has one teacher shortage. One teacher short of being fully staffed in the entire district. That's the richer school districts. However, in the south suburbs of Illinois, we're experiencing school districts that have maybe less than 5,000 students enrolled, but are still missing 40 teachers.
Oh, wow.
That's inequitable.
And the other problem we have in terms of teacher shortage, what kind of teachers are missing? The children that need them the most.
Exactly.
Students with special needs.
Right.
It's hard to find a teacher qualified in that area because when you say special needs, that covers a lot of ground.
Absolutely. So not only I think that's a great point that you raised, not only are Black and brown students attending schools where there's the greatest amount of shortage relevant to teachers, but as you indicated, highly qualified teachers who are appropriately certified to teach the subjects for which they are responsible for, including science, including STEMs, which becomes problematic. Reverend Jeanette, any updates on student loans?
Well, see, the student loan debt, people keep saying, oh, he should have done more. Well, he did something. He started. My question is, now the schools are saying they want debt forgiveness. Well, how am I going to forgive you and you keep raising tuition every single year? I think that these colleges and universities have to be held accountable by the state and the feds. You don't get to have these loans guaranteed if, in fact, the students who get a loan from you and you keep raising the tuition, there's no change in the quality of what they're doing. The dorms are not improved. The quality of instruction hasn't changed. What are you raising money for? Why does it increase every year?
Well, and that takes me back to this term equity in terms of, in that case, should the federal government move in that direction, you will have some of the more affluent universities, having their loans forgiven, and then those universities that are serving greater majority of minority students will have tuition raised, but not see the benefits in terms of their campus life experience, which again will create an inequitable experience.
You cannot keep giving one school district, whether it's college or a public school, K to 12, one school district gets more money per student, one college has more resources per student.
Exactly.
Yet you hold them to the same standard. We have to balance the equities. There has to be some kind of equal distribution of resources. And students should not be punished. I shouldn't be punished because I'm poor. I came into the world, I was born into a level of poverty. I didn't pick it, I didn't choose it, and I shouldn't be punished for being poor.
Yeah, so there you have it, Spotlight on Education. Our goal has been to ensure that all students gain equitable access to a quality education, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their economic background, and regardless of the zip code in which they reside.
Let me ask you a question. What are we going to be doing about it at Push Excel? What's going to be happening with these summits this year?
Oh, I'm so excited, and we look forward to sharing more soon. But we are in the process of planning for our first event, which is going to take place virtually. We found the data. You spoke to us, and we heard you. The data showed us that you all were actually very much interested in us maintaining the work that we're doing to host our series, which is really become a national town hall series or critical thinking series, where we examine not only those things that are impacting public education, but we also provide for you access to experts and practitioners in the field. So what's happening is that we're gearing up to host our first event, October the 6th. Stay tuned for further details. And we look forward to continuing the work that we're doing in this area.
And so what we want, all teacher organizations, wherever you are in the country, why don't you send us, you need to text, send it to Dr. Whitaker at Push Excel.
That's right, recommendations.
Recommend topics that you think we should cover.
That's a good idea.
Teachers, administrators, I know you want to have your voices. And if you want to be on the program, all you need to do is call or email you.
That's right, or email me.
Email Dr. Sonia Whitaker.
At rainbowpush.org.
Sonia, is it Dr. Sonia Whitaker? At
Sonia Whitaker.
Sonia Whitaker, S-O-N-Y-A, Whitaker at rainbowpush.org. Hey, parents, I know you don't feel like you have a voice. We want to know, what would you like for us to talk about? Where do you need help? What do you need to understand better? We are here for you at Push Excel. So
don't touch that dial. Whatever you do, don't touch that dial.
Thank you.
The push is on.
Push Excel's goal is to inspire students to strive for excellence in education in spite of personal, family, and community challenges that they might experience. How do we do this? By advocating for educational policies that guarantee equal funding for all students without regard to race or economic standing. By engaging parents, students, and teachers in pursuing high-quality education and striving for educational excellence at every level. And by forging partnerships with community-based and public sector stakeholders in education. Now, Push Excel is a national model program with the purpose of connecting principals, parents, popular personalities, and students in a bond and to support students at every level on the educational ladder. Now, we want you to become a member of the Rainbow Push Coalition and Push Excel. Your annual membership can help us to change policies that impact students, colleges, and universities all around the country. So step up and sign up today. Membership is only $35, and if you're a student or a senior, $15. Just go to our website, rainbowpush.org, and push join to become a member or push donate to support the Push Excel program. You can also text the word Push Excel, that's PUSHEXCEL, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give us any amount that you feel comfortable giving or call us at 773-256-2775. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you. And remember to keep hope alive.
Good morning, and welcome to the Saturday Morning Forum. As the nation has moved past the Labor Day holiday, marking the practical end to summer, the focus now shifts to the upcoming elections in November. Across the country, candidates and campaigns are gearing up to mobilize and energize constituents to assert their right to vote and their interests in policy agendas that speak to the diverse needs of communities large and small. As communities respond to political, social, and structural crises like the water issues in Jackson, Mississippi, the reality we face is that we must remain engaged in demanding that the people's cries are heard and the people's agenda adopted and implemented. That is why this work, the Rainbow Push Coalition, is so needed in this moment in time. Reverend Jackson continues to engage in the matters that matter, fighting for voting rights, demanding accountability for the treatment of Black patrons, challenging corporations around diversity in boardrooms, C-suites, and in the talent pipeline. The work is ongoing, and we need your support. We really need you. Go to rainbowpush.org and see the work that Reverend Jackson and his team are doing. And while you are there, join us in the movement and support this work. You won't regret it. Later in Due Process, I will discuss the important ballot initiatives, updates on the infrastructure challenges in Mississippi, and more. Stay tuned for Due Process. Don't forget, go to rainbowpush.org and partner with us in this work. And thank you for joining us for the Saturday Morning Forum.
This is Bishop Tavis Grant, the acting National Executive Director for the Rainbow Push Coalition. As you know, our nation is in a climatological crisis, from floods in eastern Kentucky to wildfires on the West Coast. And now, like Flint and so many areas around the country, we now have a water crisis in the southern region, most specifically in Jackson, Mississippi. We know that infrastructure, we know that environment, and we know that when there is not the appropriate access to capital and resources, these climatological crises are exacerbated. The work of Reverend Jesse Jackson has been not only to bring these challenges to light, but fix the problem rather than fix the blame. We have now an incredible leader from Jackson, Mississippi, Pastor Hosea Hines, who leads a collaborative of pastors, faith-based leaders, and stakeholders who are right there at ground zero on the front line, providing water and resources to those there in that region. Pastor Hines, welcome to the Saturday Morning Forum of the Rainbow Push Coalition. Give us a snapshot, if you will, of what you're contending with, what your collaboration is doing, and what is the state of play there in Jackson, Mississippi.
Certainly. Good morning, Bishop. Thank you so kindly for this opportunity and privilege to share some information that certainly will be an aid as it relates to individuals trying to help us in this predicament. Thank God for Operation Push and its legacy, as well as the breadth of its understanding that we are brothers keepers. We're here, as many of you probably have already realized, by the basic information of the nature of the crises here in Jackson, We had an unusual kind of flooding of the Pearl River that complicated our water plant. And water plant was already struggling because there were so many problems that we've been facing with the water plant and the lack of funding in order to adequately make it what it needed to be. And so right now, for about the last 3 or 4 weeks, we've been plagued by no to low water pressure. Of course, the mayor has done what he could to help to remedy the situation, but consequently, the state had to step in as well as the federal government. And so we're in a period right now where we are trying to get as much water to as many citizens in this targeted area. Jackson has a population of about 160 or 70,000 citizens, and everybody in the city of Jackson is affected. Chiefly on the south side of Jackson, where I live and where the church I pastor, it's the hardest hit area because it's at a distance from the water plant, and we have a well system that we have problems in ways where there's no pressure, no water. And so we've been struggling as it relates to that. So we're trying to get water to citizens because you realize without any water, you can't bathe, you can't flush your toilets, can't brush your teeth, you can't drink the water. And that's an unusual predicament to be in.
Pastor
So
Hines,
we're really struggling.
Talk about the health implications. You know, when we met with General Honorary this week, and he's working with the mayor there in Jackson, he brings a wellspring of experience and expertise, having turned around circumstances, situations, and conditions in Katrina. The health implications in terms of not being able to bathe in the water. If you do, you can't get it in your mouth. The boil orders are not necessarily as safe as they appear to be. And then there's the overall dynamic of the exposure to bacteria, to fungus, and other water-bred diseases. Talk about that impact, because it appears that that could be the next wave of this that could exacerbate, of course, the battle we're in the middle of as it relates to COVID.
Yeah, Bishop, you're certainly right. Number one, many of the homes, especially in the target areas I mentioned, South Jackson, there are lead pipes. And because of the lead pipes and corrosion and not being maintenance for several decades, I would say, there's lead in the water. And so when the health department sent a declaration as relates to boil water notice, certainly the boiling the water will kill the majority of the bacteria, but it will ignite, intensify the lead as to the point to where persons, when they look at the utensil where they boil the water, they'll see little lead droppings down at the bottom as it relates to that. And of course, lead affects the development of our brain. And so that's for our children, our students, our adults, our senior citizens. And so that's a health crisis that's right there in the particular area where it's being more targeted than other areas. That's number one. Secondly, as you know, if there's bacteria in the water and you have to boil it, if you turn your faucet on and wash your hands, then your hands is going to become filled with bacteria that soap or whatever it is can't kill. And so you have another problem. Little children will wash their hands, put their fingers in their mouth and different things of that particular nature, which will create infections internally, intestinally, and different things of that particular nature. And you're certainly right. When a person is not able to bathe, there are parts of the body that bacteria forms real quick, you know, because of temperature and different things of that particular nature. And so when persons will just have to take basic wash-offs, then that's putting them in a predicament where they are subject to these type of viruses and different things of that particular nature, you know, because so often we just don't know what is in this water. And because we don't know, we have normal habits. And one can just accidentally come in and turn the faucet on and forget you shouldn't be brushing your teeth. And so we've got those particular situations. And then think about the schools. The schools are using bottled water now, but in some of the schools, the children are going to the restroom. And of course, when they come out of the restroom, what have they done? Wash their hands, different things of that nature. We have not had an outbreak that I know of as it relates to diseases that are attached to this water situation. But I'm quite sure because of the masses that have been infected, we probably are going to have some particular things that's going to transpire. And then that's going to be additional costs to parents, medical bills, and different things of that particular nature. I've heard of one incident where a young man took a shower in the water, and about 2 days after, his back broke out with sores and blisters. And so that's real tough. I ran some water here at the church one day, and the color disfiguration, it looked like iced tea. That's how bad it was. And from the hydrant, it was coming out like iced tea. Then it would come out clear, iced tea and clear. I am quite sure from a health perspective of using good wisdom, I, like a lot of citizens of Jackson, will never drink that water no more.
Places all over the country where there's this pattern in this practice where there are marginal communities, people with disabilities and seniors, people living way below the national poverty line, and they end up being dumping grounds, if you will, for the worst of the worst. As we look at launching here in Chicago, the Keep Hope Alive Mississippi Water Campaign, Chicago has perhaps the largest population of migrants from Mississippi and those who are, who have family members in Mississippi. And so we've launched the Keep Hope Alive Mississippi Drive, and we intend to have trucks coming in the next 7 days to deliver water and sanitizer. But talk to our national and international audience about what they can do. At the bottom of the screen is our website, www.rainbowpush.org. And of course, you can hit us on all of our social media platforms. But there are things that people can do right now. And Pastor, give us a snapshot of what they can do right now, because I can tell you help is on the way.
Okay, thank you so kindly. As a matter of fact, the south side of Chicago is called Little Mississippi. I want you to know that. It's called Little Mississippi. You can buy watermelons in Iowa and bring them up to Chicago and just put Mississippi on the side, and you'll be sold out within
they love
a block.
those Mississippi watermelons.
That's right. That's right. Well, right now, the basic concentration is on water. Bottled water, also jugs of water, because of the uncertainty as it relates to the efficiency of the repairs. We don't know if next week we're going to be with water or without water. And so water is extremely important, and trying to get enough in people's hands where it can sustain them for at least 2 or 3 days. That's what we're trying to do. Those wipes are extremely important, because I'm meeting with the superintendent of our public school system, and I want to be able to, for about the next month, get at least every week one package of those wipes or sanitizers to our students, so that our students can feel free to use them and won't have to worry about going into the restrooms and then, hands being contaminated. And so we definitely need that. Bishop, I'm also the national leader of an organization called ANCEBA, ANCEBA, and it stands for New Day Coalition for Equity for Black America. And we're on the ground level. We're in 5 regions and doing very well. We're a new organization, young organization, but one that are freedom fighters and seeking to do what we need to do. The theme is, it's about us, it's about we, it's not about I, and it's not about me. And so what we've set up, we have 2 501c3s. One is for ANCEBA, and you can go to ANCEBA, ANCEBA.org, and get the information on how you can give, especially for us to be able to purchase things for families, because we do know that we probably would have to do some gift cards, because when the school system closes down, that means that parents have extra expenses now because the child is at home. And that means that that child is going to be eating and different things of that particular nature. So we're trying to assist and help that particular way. The other 501c3 is called the Triangle of Hope, and it links the church, the home, and the school back together again, as we knew in the olden days, the Triangle of Success. And so you can easily just go simply to ncba.org and make your contributions there. And both those organizations are combining on the ground level in order to try to help and assist. One of the things that we're also doing, we're reaching out to congregations that are kind of small, congregation 25, 50, and so forth. We're trying to put as much water in the hands of those pastors because they're in areas where persons may not have the transportation to get across town. We had 5 yesterday, and we gave each of them about 100 to 200 cases of water to take back to their communities. And I tell you, it was a joy knowing that our brothers and sisters are going to be helped in those particular areas that are off the beaten path. Persons may not even know the street name, but those pastors are working diligently to help and assist tremendously. That's a great joy.
Well, Pastor, on behalf of Reverend Jesse Jackson and our Rainbow Push International audience, we want to thank you and commend you for your stellar work, your resilience, and your commitment to helping those who need it most. Those of you who are watching, you can go to the various websites that are located at the bottom of the screen, or you can just go to rainbowpush.org and touch that tab and click that tab, and you can become a part of Help is on the Way. The Mississippi Keep Hope Alive Drive, Help is on the Way. And I want to thank people like Apostle Carl L. White, Pastor James Trent Meeks, Bishop Timothy Clark, Bishop Horace Smith, and so many others who are joining from national and regional perspectives to bring resources to Jackson, Mississippi. Pastor Hines, keep hope alive.
Certainly, Bishop. And if I could say this is my basic message from our biblical perspective. 1 John chapter 3, verse 17 says, "But whoso hath this world's goods, and seeth his brother in need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him?" It's a four-pronged. God is qualifying who he's talking to, who has his world good. Obviously, observation is real. Jackson is seen every day on the news. Everybody see what's going on. But shutting up his bowels of compassion, that means lack of obligation. I pray that everybody will feel obligated to help our people here in Jackson. It says, how dwell the love of God in them? Hey, that's demonstration. I know that the persons that will be viewing, you will feel the obligation as well as you'll move towards the demonstration of helping brothers and sisters here in Jackson, Mississippi, my birthplace.
Well, let me tell you something, Pastor. I thank you for your time, your commitment, and your undaunted commitment to this crisis. And of course, I want those of you who are watching, go to www.rainbowpush.org and let Jackson, Mississippi know help is on the way. Keep hope alive, Mississippi. You can contribute, you can participate, you can give, and you can donate. And guess what? You can help us keep hope alive. Thank you so very much, Pastor.
Thank you.
We're excited to get more people involved in Rainbow Push, supporting the programs of Push for Excellence and the Citizenship Education Fund. If you're interested in impacting public policies, if you believe in the scholarships that we give to thousands of students each and every year, you can become a policymaker by becoming a member of Rainbow Push right now. For an annual membership of $35, or if you're a student or senior, $15, you can help us make a difference in the lives of millions. How do you become a member? Visit our website at rainbowpush.org and press join. Or maybe you'd like to support us. You can text the word PUSH, that's PUSH, to 41444 on your cell phone, and you can give any amount you feel comfortable giving. You can also call us at 773-256-2775, or go to rainbowpush.org and push donate. Wherever you are, you can support us as we keep pushing for you.
I'm Todd Yeary, and this is Due Process. We begin this morning with the state of infrastructure in Jackson, Mississippi, where the water pressure has been restored and the pressure of political rhetoric is rising. Jackson Mayor Chokwe Anwar Lumumba is responding to criticism from Governor Tate Reeves, even as he has indicated that the pressure in the city's water system has been stabilized and water sampling continues as the city's residents continue to rely on bottled water during this emergency. However, the governor has blamed the city for its woes, while criticizing the competency of the water system staff for these issues. Mayor Lumumba sees a different issue, one which comes up in discussions about water system safety across the country, namely, the need for more equitable investments to mitigate the current harms and ensure that the water systems in historically under-resourced areas are viable and effective. In an effort to support the residents of Jackson, faith leaders and congregations across Chicago have rallied to collect bottled water to send to Jackson to help ease the burden on residents. Reverend Jackson and Rainbow Push Coalition will continue to raise critical resources to address the water issue in Jackson and continue to advocate for needed infrastructure investment to help ensure that the water systems in Jackson and around the country are safe. As the election season is now upon us, voters are preparing to go to the polls in the next 9 weeks. Not only will voters be choosing candidates to represent their interests, they will also be presented a number of ballot initiatives that will shape everything from public policy to the expenditure of public funds. Some of the states will ask voters to affirm constitutional amendments to protect a woman's right to choose, while others will ask that voters authorize significant expenditures for school construction. The truth is that voting requires our full attention as policies are presented for voter approval. In 5 states, there are ballot initiatives that, if approved, will abolish slavery. Yes, you heard me. In an effort to end the extensive use of prison labor without just compensation, the states of Alabama, Louisiana, Oregon, Tennessee, and Vermont will ask voters to revoke the loophole in the law that outlaws slavery except in instances of punishment for crime where a party has been convicted. It is this exception that infused the expansion of prison labor and convict leasing after the end of the Civil War and the ratification of the 13th Amendment. Many states, even today, require inmates to make products that are often distributed by major sellers across the country. Free labor is still a valued commodity, even in 2022. That is why everybody must get ready to vote. Register, verify your status, request your absentee ballot, review the candidates and policy proposals, and vote. In the coming weeks, Rainbow Push Coalition will continue to support voter registration, education, and mobilization to ensure that the candidates and policies that reflect America's progress and our community's needs are advanced. This week, the Obamas returned to the White House for the unveiling of their official portraits. Having not returned since their departure in January of 2017, the former first couple joined President and Mrs. Biden and Vice President Harris and husband Doug Emhoff in what typically would have occurred during the tenure of President Biden's predecessor, President Donald Trump. However, the 45th president did not host an unveiling of the portrait for the 44th president, leaving the opportunity and honor to President Biden, who served as President Obama's vice president for 8 years. President Obama's portrait was painted by Robert McCurdy, while former First Lady Michelle Obama's portrait was painted by Sharon Sprung. The former First Lady noted in her remarks that the portraits help connect history to the present day and acknowledges the peaceful transfer of power. The White House will certainly never be the same. There is grief and mourning this week as the world has lost a queen and a journalist. Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest reigning monarch, died Thursday at the age of 96. Having acceded to the throne at the age of 25, the Queen helped to keep the United Kingdom indeed so, even as the reach of the monarchy retreated just a bit. Her tenure spanned the administrations of 14 presidents and over 170 prime ministers of countries in the Commonwealth. Her longevity was matched by her consistency, and her passing soon after her late husband, Prince Philip, last year leaves the monarchy in a state of significant transition not experienced in 7 decades. Reverend Jackson released a statement offering condolences to the royal family, noting Queen Elizabeth was not just an historic symbol of strength to England, but also to the world. A pioneer in television journalism during the genesis of the 24-hour news cycle, Bernard Shaw was a mainstay at CNN when it was the sole occupier in the space. Shaw died this week at the age of 82. He was one of the first black anchors of an evening news program on a major news network, following in the stead of Max Robinson. An identifiable symbol of credible reporting, Bernard Shaw covered significant national and world events, including the Oklahoma City bombing, the protests in Tiananmen Square, and the Persian Gulf War. Born in Chicago to a railroad worker and housekeeper, Shaw found his inspiration in journalism. His contribution now inspires others. Finally, I want to share with you some important information about my role and tenure with the Rainbow Push Coalition. As my time in this current role as CEO at Rainbow Push Coalition will soon draw to an end, I felt it important that I share with you my sincerest appreciation to and for you and your partnership over these past 4+ years. I begin with telling you a bit about my story and how I arrived at this place. I was 16 years old and a senior at Durham High School in North Carolina. We were the host school for a joint assembly with Hillside High School, our cross-city rival, and the historically black high school in Durham. The juniors and seniors were convened to hear from one whose mark had already made an indelible impression on a generation. I was in that number that day, ready to hear from a for-real cultural icon. I was the senior class president that year, and it was our student government president, Howard Hoskins, who was to introduce our speaker. Howard was absent that day with illness, so the responsibility and privilege fell to me. I would introduce the Reverend Jesse Jackson before my high school peers, and what an honor it was. As I finished the printed biography and introduction, Reverend Jackson stepped to the podium, tall and statuesque, shook my hand, pulled me close, and gave me a big hug. He also asked me a question, a fundamentally profound one. What are you going to be, a preacher or a lawyer? A bit taken aback in that moment, I responded in the most authentic way I could as a 16-year-old. I simply said, I don't know, maybe both. That moment in time is as real to me almost 40 years later as it was 40 years ago. I have been privileged to walk with Reverend at his invitation, to experience, learn, and grow in my own capability as one committed to human rights and the fight for human dignity. Even this week, I honor the 10-year anniversary of Reverend Jackson's humanitarian intervention in the Gambia, West Africa, during an international crisis that had drawn the scrutiny and outrage of the global community. It was on that trip that I watched Reverend Jackson's ability to be ready in the moment. The issue that brought Reverend Jackson to the small West African nation had eased. However, the U.S. ambassador to the Gambia made a request of Reverend that had not been anticipated. Would he agree to intervene on behalf of 2 dual U.S. citizens then held in custody when he met with the Gambian president the next day? Reverend Jackson was leaned back in his chair, tired from the overnight trip. However, he was in deep thought and agreed to do what he could to achieve the objective, even though the ambassador had made it clear that the administration could not extend an official request of him. The next day, Reverend Jackson was focused and intentional. And during a break in the meeting with the Gambian president, upon coming downstairs where the delegations were waiting, Reverend Jackson whispered to me, I think we're going to pull this off. Rev indeed did pull it off, negotiating the release of Amadou Scott-Red Jane and Tamsir Jasseh from a Gambian prison. Ready in the moment, I was able to witness what I had often heard in the news, Reverend Jackson's uncanny ability to connect with those for whom public messaging said should be avoided and dismissed. A statesman, in the truest sense of the word, Reverend Jackson has remained stalwart in his 6-decade-plus body of work, advancing the causes of justice, and I honor him and thank him for his heart. Today, I am both a preacher and a lawyer, the fulfillment of a reality that was beyond my conceptual reach, that is, until Reverend Jesse Jackson expanded my perspective and my sense of possibility for my life. And now I have added to my catalog of gratitude nearly 4.5 years of walking with the man who asked me a question that affirmed my purpose and altered the course of my life. I want to publicly thank Reverend Jackson for the opportunity to learn from him, serve him, make mistakes and be encouraged by him, experience some achievement with him, and most importantly, deepen my appreciation for the serious work of universal justice and human rights to which I believe we have all been called. Now I bid adieu to a team of committed workers and partners who work with Reverend Jackson to advance the interests of the least, the last, the lost, and the left behind. To the staff at Rainbow Push who have allowed me to share this part of the journey with you, simply, thank you. To the members of the boards of directors of the organizations that make the Rainbow Push Coalition family, Citizenship Education Fund, Push for Excellence, and People United to Serve Humanity, thank you for the opportunity to serve in various roles over these 4 years. Finally, to Mrs. Jacqueline Jackson and the Jackson family, a big thank you for your counsel, support, and for sharing Reverend Jackson with the world. The fight for justice in many ways is the constant embrace with the process of trial and error. Every day putting the best of ourselves on the line in service to others, recognizing that our biggest threat is not failure in the quest for human rights, but indifference to the human condition. Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays said it most profoundly, and I quote, "It must be borne in mind that the tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goal to reach. It isn't a calamity to die with dreams unfulfilled, but it is a calamity not to dream. It is not a disaster to be unable to capture your ideal, but it is a disaster to have no ideal to capture. It is not a disgrace not to reach the stars, but it is a disgrace to have no stars to reach for. Not failure, but low aim is sin," end quote. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Roman church, declared, "Hope that is seen is not hope. What fuels hope is the courage to imagine and the willingness to dream that our common predicament known as the human condition can be made better for all." I will continue to join you in that effort. The field is big, the needs are great, and opportunities abound. So let's aim high together, onward and upward. Keep hope alive. That is Due Process. I'm Todd Yeary.
Be sure to join us on our Saturday morning forum on next Saturday. We will continue to bring great content to you. And be sure to like our Facebook page and share when you're watching live. And if you're watching us on YouTube, because that's what you prefer to do, be sure to subscribe to our page so you can continue to get up-to-date information about what is occurring in our organization. We need you. We don't just need your financial support, but we need your hands. We need your participation. So we're asking that you seriously consider joining Rainbow Push, and you can do so by going to our website at rainbowpush.org. Keep hope alive.